Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second day of the second qualifier of North American Challenger League Season number 11 qualifiers. My name is Jesse J. Chick. I'm going to be casting alongside Jasmine today, as well as Crater, as always, on the observation. Jasmine, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the cast.
Hey, it's pretty exciting to be with you. I've always watched your streams, obviously, because you do a lot of the qualifiers. And for the first time ever, we're going to join forces and I guess bang through some CL quals. And I'm pretty excited, to be honest with you, because I know you're excellent at what you do. So I'm here to learn, and I'm also here to have some fun.
Well, thanks, man. I know you've been grinding it pretty hard with those underage leagues, too. So always exciting to have new faces on the stream, and I'm really excited for these games. We've got two for you guys tonight. Obviously, we started a little bit late. My schedule is pretty busy on Tuesdays, so we kind of have to for these days. But that's okay. Should still have some good matches. We're starting with Bad Company versus Run It Back. Two fairly good teams inside of these qualifiers. In my mind, two teams that could definitely squeeze into those into Challenger League. Probably going to make top 16, but it's tough to say. You're going to recognize probably a fair number of the names that are on this, or in this server, I should say, including one that I didn't actually realize was on one of these teams, but Shuttle going to be playing for Run It Back today. That's exciting.
Yeah, these teams have both made runs in the invitational qualifiers. They're kind of a recognizable name. Obviously, Run It Back, ex-pros, so that's going to be a trigger point for a lot of viewers. It's definitely going to be a game to watch and definitely a team to see because the PogChamp team, the coalition of Pro League players over there as well, managed to make close qualifiers for the invitationals. So Run It Back are kind of also, in that same boat, so maybe eyes are going to be on them as well. Speaking of PogChamp, I think they're playing over at Uzu's, if I'm...
Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure Uzu's casting PogChamps. And then Hans is doing another game as well. So there's a couple casters going right now. So that's always nice to see, right, when we can have a couple different streams going live. Do go ahead and check out those streams as well. You can find them on the ESL Community Caster page if you can't just find them through your Twitch directory. I believe we've got a couple players readied up. So as soon as we can start our server, Crater, then we should be going live. We are headed on Bank. Bad Company started on attack, Run It Back, moving to the defense first and foremost. We'll move over to Bank now. And I'm excited for this matchup. Do you have any predictions to start us off, Jasmine, as we head into the ban phase and also the match?
Well, Run It Back being kind of the more experienced players, kind of being together for a little bit longer, they probably are going to have an advantage, obviously, because they're also on defense, which is where a lot of strats are into play, especially in a map like Bank, which is really articulate. As we'll see, Thermite be banned first. Not a Hibana, which has become really a main stage for this Bank ban. It's always either Capitao or Hibana, but they're going to wipe out the Thermite this time. So, I don't know. I feel like Run It Back, with their experience, are going to have a little bit more in-depth strategy. That should help them out a little bit on this map.
I do know that Bad Company is a team I followed a little bit over the past few months, and they've been together for a while. They've definitely been competing in a couple of different sort of lower level tournaments as well, community stuff. So always exciting to see them inside of these tournaments and Run It Back, as you mentioned. A ton of really experienced names, as well as Shuttle being on that roster is pretty big. Not on the ESL page, unless he's named something different. Could also just be some player who's changed their alias up, but as far as I know, Shuttle's not doing anything on any other teams. So that'll be exciting if he's joining the squad. And there are some pretty recognizable names other than him. These bands that have just gone through, Capitao, Mira, Echo, pretty much what you'd expect. I mean, Thermite as well, not too out of there.
It's pretty typical ban phase. The Mira, without a Capitao, is definitely going to need to be banned out. So we'll see that come out. And, well, it seems like we're going to have a very typical start going back downstairs. Now, coming out of this, I want to see what Bad Company are going to do for their attack, considering that they have no Thermite. I'm not sure if they're going to be using their Hibana utility on the hatches or more so the wall, because they're not bringing a Maverick right now to kind of help out with either of those. So I'm interested. I don't know if well, there it is. I was going to say that. So that Maverick going to be able to help out with hatches and give the Hibana a little bit more flexibility, as now she can kind of have a choice for what hatches she wants to get. And also at the same time, we'll also be able to open up the wall in server.
It would be pretty strange to see Bank with Thermite off of the board and not two Hard Destructors banned, especially since you're probably almost for sure going to this bomb site first thing. And it would be very strange to leave a lot of those hatches open, right? You need your Hibana to get inside of the bomb site too. So it's it's definitely a good pick, good 6 pick on them in particular. we'll get into this matchup, and as I like to say at the start of every stream, I'm watching the chat closely, so if you notice any issues with audio or visual issues, whatever you might find, do let me know. We're on a 4.5-minute delay as per ESL regulations, so it's going to take me a while to respond, but I'm reading your messages, so don't be afraid to yell at me when something goes wrong.
Oh, I think there's something wrong. I think we have a sexiness overload.
Alright, calm down. We haven't even started the match yet. We gotta at least get some good plays in before we can start saying stuff like that. Prep phase, I don't know, anything particular out of the ordinary. No Ella, which I always like to see on this bomb site in particular. You can have a couple different options building those server stairs. They might be putting the smoke up there instead. Wouldn't be a bad bet. Even Jaeger sometimes we see at the top of server stairs. Didn't quite catch who was setting up there in the prep phase though.
They've got the nades to deal with the deployable, or sorry, to deal with the player and server stairs, and they got the sledgehammer to deal with the deployable shield. So a nice little combo there. You can also rock the Zofia for that, and well, we do see it here. So I actually don't think there's any server stairs play this time around. It doesn't seem like anybody is currently sat there. So it's just going to be a top-down take here. Server, not really much of a worry at all, as no players are placed there. Maybe just a little bit of utility. So once they figure out that that is completely clear, obviously, which is going to be a little bit difficult because of Shuttle's pests, then they should be able to storm servers quite quickly.
Bad Company doing a good job so far of recognizing there's not going to be anybody they have to worry about on that top floor. Typically, again, when you're attacking on the basement on bank, there's not going to be anybody down there, but they drone it efficiently. They make that call, and now they can focus down towards getting into servers. As you mentioned, there's not a whole lot of defensive pressure on servers, so you'd like to see the attackers get in there relatively quickly. Good Maverick used to open up that first half without wasting too much gas. I think he still has the opportunity to open the second one without using the rest of his gas canisters. Obviously, the Habana opens this hatch. He's going to attempt that second hatch to get opened up inside of the open area. So hopefully he can accomplish that. It's not the easiest task in the world. You've got your long angles, of course, still being played as well from the defenders. Worried about those hatches, but mostly they're not going to be wanting to move around too much anyways unless we get really chaotic later into this round. So that shouldn't be anything that they have to worry about too heavily. Again, it's going to be really focused on using your C4s, using your plant denial to stop these guys, and the classic pulse inside of gold as well is going to help out a ton with that, of course.
Good progress being made here by Bad Company as they've gotten up in the server wall, as you mentioned, but both of Dirty's nades are going to fall, which is quite interesting because now that red player is going to be pretty easy pretty hard to deal with, but Raiden is going to take down Abunai. Fozo with low HP also doesn't notice. I'm not sure if he knows that the call of Raiden inside a central stairwell. He's trapped here between a rock and a hard place, but he will be able to take the head off of Brain Dead Aimer. Carnage gonna try and go for the entry here, but Raiden will find his another kill. A really good pressure point being held here by the Maverick, but he will fall to Fozo, and a C4 from Shuttle will deny the plant. Or no, actually, it will just get a kill, and the plant will run away. So now, 17 seconds remaining. You still, oh my goodness, you still have Fozo alive, but we'll take the head off of Basin, or Basian, and now Thunder left in a 1 versus 3. Not a lot of options here, and unfortunately, that unfortunate prone will change his camera angle, so Fozo will be able to walk away with a 4K to start out the round. A very explosive start from him. A nice little take that Bad Company had going there. They had a minute down, or 2 minutes down, and they already had opened the server wall quite efficiently. You also had the Maverick playing at the bottom of central stairwell after Abunai fell, but whenever he lost his position there, whenever he lost that linchpin position inside at the bottom of central stairwell, that's kind of whenever you saw everything crumble apart, because Fozo was just able to tear heads off.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you're going up against a Maestro inside a garage. Obviously, the first pick, right, relieve the pressure off of himself, and then he can focus on the guys going for the plant, play that ACOG, and yeah, tough to deal with. Huge props to Fozo, and of course Shuttle getting that middle kill as well to make it 5 down on the attacking side. But that's pretty standard, right? You're attacking on the lockers on bank. You're not expecting to have to win that one. You'd like to, obviously, but they can put that one behind them now, focus on some of these slightly easier bomb sites to go up against. Certainly nothing's going to be free, especially against a team like Run It Back, who are going to be one of the stronger contenders inside of the CL qualifiers. So yeah, strong start from Fozo. You're still bringing the Maestro as you walk into this round. There's actually almost 0 operator swap ups. You've moved the Pulse over to a Dock, which is a pretty standard move, and then of course the Castle being picked up as well. Very meta, nothing crazy out of the ordinary coming from the defenders. From the attackers as well, we don't see a whole lot of changes in their lineup, so I'm interested to see how it gets played out. Not expecting anything too different here.
With your Hibana only being able to open up one of those walls, or at least open up for a safe crouch hole. I'm going to be interested to see where that utility placement is going to go to, because Bastian has to make an important decision on where the plant's going to go, if it's going to go behind the bomb or behind the shelf, and or even behind the desk, I guess. So that's kind of what I've been looking at here. Obviously, you can open up another line of sight with your third X Kairos, or you can even open up a risky prone hole. But obviously a lot less easier than a thermite would be, where it's just click, click, and you have 2 walls open.
Slow and steady for these attackers. Obviously getting on top of the parking garage is Bayesian, and he's going to be wanting to open up more than likely not that long angle into the hallway that he's staring at right there with his crosshair. So you can open that up, of course, with the X Kairos, and then you've got a really excellent sightline that you can just watch for about half the game. Really cut off some rotation of the defenders, and they can never feel too safe whilst running around that hallway. It can make it tough to come back to those central stairs as well. Otherwise, for these attackers, I mean, you're droning inside of the lobby. A lot of barbed wire you have to deal with on the stairs too. Gonna make a lot of noise, slow people down. Those are the X Kairos I was talking about. He's got 1 left in his pocket that he might want to save. Maybe for a castle barricade, worst case scenario. You don't really need more sight lines there. You can find another wall that you want opened up, maybe from janitors. That could be a play as well. So a couple different options for him there. Some damage onto Thunder. Looks like it was the long angle. You got to be really careful about those ACOGs on the enemy team.
Speaking of ACOGs, you still have Bayesian placed on the garage, and that's where he's going to be holding the Kanto spot for a lobby push, but so far not a lot of progress has been made. You still have Olive Run It Back alive, all holding a very decent position, where this Nomad on the window just can't catch anyone off guard just yet. Rain has been trying his best, and well, he wants to get a kill here, and he'll die out to Fozo. We talked about that Meister and how powerful he is, and it's just going to be a slaughter here from Run It Back, as Abanar will walk away with 2. And it's just a push-up banana out of desperation. Dirty will take the head off of Fozo, and Thunder out to Abanai. So both of your power fraggers this round down, but still a lot of control, still shuttle underneath, and you still got a 2 versus 3 here with not a lot to work with.
Of course, that drone getting taken away is a huge loss for the attackers. You need all the info that you can get. Vandal in a really dirty spot. He's about to find a kill with it too. Can he get it? Yes, he can. Gets that one on a dirty. Now his position revealed, and Thunder pumps some damage into him. Vandal escapes with a sliver of HP. He's going to be okay for the rest of this engagement, but perhaps not for long. Carnage is there, going to shut down Thunder and Run It Back, take their second round. A really tough start from Bad Company.
An interesting push up the lobby stairs. Obviously, it's a really heavy pinch because you're walking up 1 stairwell, and there's not a lot that you can work with there unless you walk up the main stairs. But we didn't see a lot of that. We didn't really just see a lot of pressure in general from Bad Company. It was just kind of one side versus another, where Run It Back obviously had a little bit more well-established angles, while everyone was just running up the stairs. And well, it took only a few ACOGs to basically thin the team down to 2. So well played to both Abunai and Fozo to walk away with 3 kills total on the round. That kind of helped the rest of Bad Company secure the rest of the round. So down into Teller's Archives we go, the very typical 3rd bomb site here. And now Bad Company going to have to make an opening play here. They do bring the sledge a lot, so maybe that'll come into use here. Interested to see what the push is going to be this time.
Both these teams sit with 3 wins, however, they're not totally the same record. It's been a 3-0 right now from Run It Back, thanks to a default win that they managed to secure, I think, yesterday, and then 3-1 on the scoreline for Bad Company. Of course, the way these qualifiers work, there's 9 games across 3 days every single week for a total of 5 weeks. You're collected points this whole time. If you get 3 losses at any point during the week, you're done. You can go home. You don't have to play anymore. That means the very worst of the teams only have to play 1 day. Most teams play 2 days, and then the best of the best play all 3 days. So it can really be a grind, a long process for the teams that are really fighting for that top spot. But that's what you want when you have an opportunity to get into one of the most prestigious leagues inside of Rainbow Six, basically the 2nd most prestigious league after Pro League. So there's a long qualification process, of course. These teams are going to have to grind it out to get there. And with 1 loss already, this is going to be a pretty crucial loss if they lose it already. Going down 3-2 is a pretty big loss. You got to be perfect after that. And clearly that's not what Bad Company are looking for.
Bank attacks working so successfully here. Jardy with a nade, a beautiful one will take down Shuttle. So you've already gathered control of open area. There's a player sitting, however, outside, and well, he will actually be able to take down Dirty, and no refrag. Or sorry, a refrag coming on out here. As a matter of fact, Shuttle will just get right back up. Well played there to Carnage. Raiden also going to lose a bit of HP to Fozo here. Jumping out the window, unfortunately not able to... Fozo not able to catch him off guard, and for now, you've already lost your sledge that I was just talking about. And unless you have breach charges, you don't have a lot to work with in terms of soft destruction. Braindead Aimer will take the hit off his shuttle, though. Not before he gets up Carnage.
Little bit of health advantage in favor of the attackers. Here's a run out. Boy, oh boy, Fozo's on top of things. Raiden does get shut down, and he's going to be mad about that one for sure. Braindead's trying to find him dropping, but no, that's a little bit too slow, and really well executed push. I'm not sure if he was just lucky and was able to get that when there was nobody covering, or if he knew, thanks to his teammates, perhaps vault cams, that he was able to vault out when there was nobody around. But either way, he gets away scot-free, and you're going to be very, very happy about that. Running off into the basement, you can come back and fight. The element of surprise is going to be huge too, is the enemy team really not going to have any clue where he's at. You got Braindead coming up the main stairs, and he doesn't realize how many people are all surrounding him, but he hits the shot on a Carnage regardless. That puts us into a 3-on-3 thanks to his double kill. Of course, Carnage is already on pretty low HP, so it's not the best kill that you could have gotten, but you're still pretty happy about it. Abanai hears it, but it's still too slow. Braindead on a triple kill, so low HP. Probably can't get it anymore, but man, oh man, he's done enough for this round. It's going to be on his teammates, and of course, the enemy squad as well to battle it out in the last minute of the round.
What should have been a really, really good piece of control there from Run It Back will just turn into 2 free kills. Unfortunately, gunfights not being won there, and that really just comes down to what happened there. So the rest of Bad Company just going to start to make their way in through lobby and go for that Archives push. Sorry, Tellers push, and Fozo is still playing on the main stairs, so got to be careful of that as well. You obviously expect somebody to be there, and well, that is going to be, I believe, the Zofia pushing, or sorry, the IQ of Thunder pushing up on that from above. Speaking of Zofia, Braindead will find his 4th here on the Fozo, and now Vandal's left in a 1 versus, well, nothing now, as Bad Company is going to be able to secure their first round. Finally, a decent attack for them that will work out in their favor. They've had some pretty close ones, but now we actually have a decisive victory from them. Really well played in terms of getting control of the top floor. Obviously not a lot of utility to work with because you lost the sledge, so you couldn't do as much soft destruction as you wanted to, but a really, really smooth transfer from the top floor to lobby and going for an instantaneous push in through Archives, and in through Tellers. So really well played there to Bad Company, and we'll see them finally take a round.
Big thing from Braindead in that last 4K that he just got was just his positioning really, really being strong throughout the round. Of course, walking up the staircase, able to find one, kind of catching the enemy team off guard with how quickly he walked up those stairs, and then able to hit a nice flick to get that 2nd kill, and then, of course, the 3rd one when he was inside, being able to find the Vigil. Again, just sort of the Vigil, not realizing how close he would be. It's that timing, that positioning that comes out huge for Braindead Aimer. And then the last one, again, Shuttle just not aware that there was going to be somebody pushing from all the way above him. He gets shot from the skylight almost, and so that's going to be a 4K mostly based off of positioning, timing, really good game sense overall coming out from Braindead Aimer, and that's something that's kind of hard to see from a lot of players, right? Especially when you're watching casts, you're watching Vods, you're watching scrims. It's often easier just to look at the scoreboard, but it's a lot of times those little plays, those split-second decision-making skills that go a little bit unnoticed, even when they don't necessarily contribute to the scoreboard like that round did.
Yeah, beautiful pinches in general from Bad Company, which kind of won them the round. They took gunfights and made sure that they were always in their favor because they always had 2 stacked up, and they were able to pinch and just Run It Back absolutely no chance to win those gunfights. And well, moving into our 4th round here, let's see what they decided to do differently. Last time they gathered to control a server quite easily. Did not take them a lot of time to do that. It's not been the control game that's been too much of a problem. It's kind of just been the execute in general. You kind of run into an issue because Run It Back have usually all 5 players, maybe 1 offsite. You always have at least all 5 downstairs for that execute, kind of ready for that. And it's interesting to see no external control because obviously last time, and I think even this time around, you didn't see any server control, just a little bit of utility placement. So they're going to be going for the turtle strat, and so far it has been working out for Run It Back the one time that they did go here, but obviously it's going to start to show its flaws as you can see how easily Braindead Aimer is able to clear out server with, well, minus the pest being there.
Yeah, again, not a lot of differences between first round and this round in terms of the defense. Pretty much have standardized exactly how they want to do this. A little bit worse with that blowtorch. Unfortunate coming out there for Raiden. He's doing a bit of a squiggle pattern. I guess he just wants to open a small hole. Maybe he's focusing most of that gas left on the other hatch. That could definitely be a valid reason to be opening up just so little of that hatch when you've already wasted a little bit of that gas. But I don't know. Good take so far. They've been a little bit slow, minute and a half. You're still not really in control of that server room. You're looking into it, but you haven't really taken it just yet. It's a little slow for my taste.
Dirty will take down Shuttle, so if you're speaking about slow, there's your first kill there. Finally, not getting eaten up by an ADS this time. Abunai trying to peek on the Raiden, however, he's still going to stay alive here, and that pressure is going to be felt sooner or later here, as the rest of Bad Company will start to execute here in through servers. And we still have a lot of utility left alive on the side of Run It Back. You still have Fozo on Aldo, you still have the C4 and Vandal and Carnage with the smokes. It's going to keep Bayesian out for that plant. 50 seconds remaining here. Still a contesting battle here between Abunai and Raiden. A huge gunfight, and it will go in the favor of Abunai. Fozo gonna wipe the head of Braindead clean off of his body. A 3 versus 4 now, and Run It Back just have so much space at this point.
You've already thrown a few players into the bomb site, both of them coming up unsuccessfully. You've got to make something work. You've got to make a move. They're baiting out utility now, but they don't really have a ton of time for it. Dirty also going to fall thanks to the SMG-11 of Carnage. There's another one from Fozo, who's been so good with that Alda. Now it's going to be Thunder alone in a 1-on-4. Almost unwinnable for him. He'll push downstairs, but he's not ready for Abunai, who's standing at the bottom of those central stairs. Run It Back, take round number 4, and extend their lead. You can go up 3-1. It's getting worse and worse for Bad Company.
Last time around, Raiden won that gunfight on the main stairs, and that really helped out Bad Company, but did not secure them the round because of Fozo inside a garage. And that time, they completely ignored a garage push in general, as well as the loss of the gunfight from Raiden definitely helped out quite a bit because Fozo felt absolutely no pressure there. So well played to Abunai to win that gunfight, a very important one, and Raiden was not able to pinch out Fozo, who was just clicking heads. I mean, it's just such an impossible angle to really challenge against. You might as well try and do it from the back, as they did the first time from garage, and they were unsuccessful rather in pinching out Fozo. And I just feel like he's just been the really crucial player of that downstairs defense that has just been shutting down so many executes. And obviously, you cannot forget Carnage with the smoke grenades and Vandal sitting behind with the intel.
Goyo teased by Run It Back, and it's always something that I'm excited when it comes out. A lot of people are hating on the Goyo. There's actually been some talk that maybe he's not quite as good as people were hyping him up to be. I think he's still got that potential. It's just it's going to take teams sometimes to set up some setups that work, right, to get those developed, to get the strats run out through scrims. You don't want to bring something to the table until it's ready. And particularly, I mean, if you plan on doing well in these qualifiers, then maybe you don't want to pull out your craziest strategies during the qualifiers. Those are going to come in quite useful later on down the road. So unfortunate we won't see it today, at least for me, but hey, certainly we should still see some good games. There have been a lot of big plays so far in this matchup, whether it's been a couple of 4Ks that we've seen or just some nice run-out plays as well. I like the action we've seen so far today.
Absolutely, and that highlight player right now, you're watching him making some rotates, very boring, but it is Fozo. I mean, he's just been masterful on that Alda here. Abunai has also been helping out quite a bit upstairs. He's going to go for quite the aggressive peek, however, onto Garage, and well, it seems like Bad Company are going to be going for the exact same push here. Bayesian is going to be challenging Abunai on this angle. This could be a huge gunfight won by Abunai if he does win it, as they're just going back and forth, flying a few shots in their way, and eventually Abunai is going to have to evacuate the premises as Bayesian does have X-Karis, and he most likely will be using it on that Kanto wall.
Very aggressive play by Abunai. Of course, you want to be a little bit aggressive when you've got that ACOG, but he's really pushing his luck. He wins the kill, though, taking down the hard destructor Bayesian. Not incredibly vital on this site, but still a big one. He's going for a second one through the bars. This could be a very almost luck-dependent fight, and he realizes that it's just going to escape. Thankfully, who else but Fozo finds a kill for him. It's going to be a headshot onto Raiden. Again, he's been racking him up with the Alda. Huge credit to Fozo for showing up so big in this match when it really counts. I mean, it's been phenomenal so far for him. You're closing in on that minute-and-a-half mark for this round. Then again, you'd like to be able to not be down 3-5, but that's the situation you're in if you're Bad Company at this point, and you have barely gotten into the building, right? You've got a couple guys inside a lobby, which great, congratulations, but you should have maybe some people in Skylight at this point. Certainly shouldn't have lost 2 people almost outside of the building, taken control of that first floor a little bit more dominantly than they have. Hasn't been a lot of movement, and of course that's gonna happen every time you see the attackers go down early in a round. You don't have that man count, you really can't put a lot of energy into pushing when you just don't have that much energy to spare. So it's gonna have to be either something that waits to the last minute and they all push in and get a couple of crazy kills and win the gunfights like that, or they're going to need a really big individualistic effort from either Dirty or the other two teammates that he has beside him. So this is going to be a tough play. I like this flank, if nothing else, from the main stairs. He hasn't been called out yet, but he's about to find somebody in the hallway, and he will go down. That's unfortunate.
What could have been a really powerful position to hold is now turned into a 2 versus 5 brain dead. And Thunder, basically deja vu at this point. Not the same people, but the same positions. Stuck in a 2 versus 5. And now 1 versus 5 as Abinai will just click the head off Thunder and now brain dead. He's got to live up to his name and aim at 5 heads. I mean, that's not an easy task here, especially when his location is all but known. All that, basically, as stuck inside a banana. He's going to actually be found by Abinai, who will find his 3rd and run it back. I mean, that's just that was Abinai's round right there. Fozo's been showing up. Abinai said, hold my beer. Here's my kills. Taking off the X Kairos was a huge, or I guess rather the Habano was a huge kill because you lost that hard breach that was stuck on the Kanto wall, and that allowed for Abinai to play that position, as well as Fozo being able to pinch with him and just kind of pick off one by one from above and just turret them down. And those ACOGs have just been super powerful in general for run it back on that upstairs defense, and they'll win it flawlessly this time instead of what was a little bit of a closer one last time.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That was a really big round for Abinai in particular, and I'm always quick to criticize the aggressive plays, right? Because when they don't pay off, especially at these lower levels, I mean, it can be an easy point to like, you know what? If you had just not thrown your life away here, your team might have done better in that round. But credit to him, he knew when to push, and clearly he walked away, and he has the aim to back it up. So, well, if he's gonna go for it, he's doing it well. Credit to him for that round, getting a lot of the early kills and later kills as well. A little bit less impactful, but certainly they're all the same. We rotate back to Teller's Archives again, clearly not wanting to experiment too much with open area. I've seen a lot of teams do that recently, where they will play open area. Teller's Archives almost like falling out of favor in recent matches that I've seen, but by no means out of meta. Interesting if they're going to change anything up. This is the one bomb site they've lost so far in the match, but it doesn't seem like they need to do a whole lot of changing.
Yeah, they're gonna just play, probably playing a very typical strat as they have been. A nice opener. It was a nice opener last time from Bad Company. They were able to gain control of open area. I guess nice opener. Gain control of open area. With a nade, and I mean, you did actually lose that by the end there. That was the issue. So Bad Company just had a little bit of a control game there. They kind of had a little bit of a struggle, but they eventually worked their way upstairs where they were able to find Abinai and I believe it was Carnage who were playing up there, and we'll see if it is easy this time around because it was just 2 easy kills and that was the round for Bad Company. But this time they're going to do something a little bit differently. They want to undermine the position that is usually played on the main stairs, and they just want to start pushing up as unfortunately a default cam is going to be Brain Dead's basically half of his HP gone, and then Carnage will take off the other half. Dirty with a very unfortunate start there, but Thunder will find Fozo. You have 2 players sitting on the main stairs there, and one nade could be quite a bit here, but obviously it's not that easy. You hear Shuttle rotate off here. That nade is not going to find anything as Carnage finds Dirty. So this time around, the control that Bad Company have been wanting is not going to go their way, as 2 have already fallen here, and now Bad Company definitely need to make a switch up in strategy. As they have gotten control of the top floor, they're going to have to start to make their way down.
I like the idea of the downstairs push, right? You take control of the basement, you can come up from a couple different angles, but those are being watched pretty closely. Shuttle finds himself in a bit of an engagement. Thunder's able to pick up one onto his teammate, so that's something to the attackers. They managed to equalize the score despite that bit of a disastrous start here inside of the vault. They managed to equalize. As I say that, Vandal gets another kill onto Raiden though, and so that's going to put numbers back in favor of Run It Back. We're trying to push this to a 5-1 scoreline. Really, really bad for the attackers if you take a look at this half just on its own. They're going to have to pull something pretty miraculous in the second half if they want to come back from a scoreline like that. 4-2 would make it so much more doable, so these last 2 players have quite a bit of weight on their shoulders. Bayesian has that diffuse kit, and of course Thunder's with him. Gotta be worried about Carnage. Oh no, this rotation coming at the perfect time. They have no idea he's there, but they hit the shot regardless. Thunder's watching it, and they're able to find that. They're now looking for those last 2 kills. There's a good one from Vandal. That leaves it just to Bayesian coming up against Shuttle and Vandal. Again, these 2 defenders inside of the site, and 33 seconds to go.
Vandal taking Fozo's gun and taking his energy as well. It's a 2 versus 1, and Shuttle and Vandal both playing a very, very decent position here to watch both the window. He is getting pinged as well, and well, running into the crossfire or the crosshairs of Vandal will be Bayesian, and Run It Back will be able to successfully hold off Teller's Archives, obviously not having too much success last time around. It was close, but it wasn't close enough. But now finally, Run It Back will take it decisively. A 5-1 half there. Not a good start, but obviously it is Bank, which is very heavily defender-sided. It's kind of been seeing a little bit of a shift, but for now, it will remain defender-sided in this game.
So you gotta do a lot, again, as I alluded to in that last round. There's a lot on the shoulders of Bad Company walking into half number 2. You can mess up once, then it'll be match point for your opponents. You got to be perfect other than that, at least until you get to overtime. I'm just giving it that it's in order for Bad Company to win, they're going to have to go overtime. Maybe they'll surprise me, right? Maybe they'll go for a perfect 6-0 half and win it 7-5. Wouldn't be the first time I've seen it, but it's certainly not common, and I think they're probably going to be looking more towards that OT, and of course, even that's a little bit out of reach for them in most people's eyes. I think you look at this match going into things, you're probably thinking that they're a bit of the underdogs, but maybe the surprise. And then as this match sort of transpires, it does seem like Run It Back have the upper hand in most categories. But who knows? It's Rainbow Six. Each round is a new day, and anything can happen. Certainly, we've seen weirder upsets than this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, Bad Company not coming into this as the favored team. Run It Back, and all former expos, as you were talking recently, the most prestigious league being Pro League, and this is they're shooting for the second most, but they've been there. They've been there, done that, and they want it more than ever before. They want to run it back. So, you're playing against a very, very, I guess the right word is, hungry team.
Yeah.
As Bad Company are going to be going for a strategy that has been seeing itself evolve every so often. An open area archives hold. You have the Mozzie and the Jaeger on that as well. As I believe somebody playing inside a Logi, so they want top 4 control. Actually, no, that's an attacker. They want top 4 control, and they want to be able to hold off a little bit because they know that those hatches are guaranteed to be opened up, and that's going to add a lot of pressure here. And I'm interested to see what if Bad Company did open up any hatches, because sometimes you see defenders open up hatches to go for an easy rotate. It's not too common, but you do see it every once in a while. But anyway, Bad Company will start off downstairs, but also have a little bit of flexibility above.
Dirty going to be the main first contact point. He gets a drone and then just backs off immediately. He's done a good job installing those drones from finding him, and now as soon as they can break through his defenses, he's going to back off smartly. You've wasted the time that you have, and now you can sort of retreat back to your teammates, drop all the way down to the basement. Sure, why not? You've got a C4, and you really want to save that for the later parts of the round. They did have another defender up here as well instead of open area. I believe he also dropped, so that's going to be everybody on the defense. No, he's still up there, actually. Somebody inside of the stairwell could rotate upwards. Yeah, it's going to be Raiden on those stairs, but he's on the Maestro. Probably not going to be an aggressive push from him. More likely than not, he's going to want to favor those longer angles, so we'll see him retreat back inside of the garage. Maestro's happy little home that he likes to be inside of, and put the pressure on the attackers to take this free ground that's been given to them and really take advantage of it. I want to also point out, credit to Run It Back, they're not taking advantage of, or they're not underestimating Bad Company. They're still taking a lot of time to drone these things out. They're taking their time with it. They're being careful. Sometimes you'll see teams in this position where they go up really early in that first half, get a little bit loose, get a little bit over aggressive, and start to throw things away. It's been solid from Run It Back, though. They are not taking any shortcuts up against this squad once the half size is swapped.
You do bring a very valid point, but I'm also afraid of the server control here by Brain Dead Aimer. Will it be a little bit too much time given to the attackers? As a matter of fact, they're all in. They missed drone Jaeger. He's just going to be sitting there. He'll find not even one. Vandal will get tagged down. They'll find the Thermite, or sorry, the Maverick, and it'll be a two kills here for the Jaeger until he's finally shut down. But such a fatal flaw there. The hatches are open, however, so hopefully Habana's going to be able to use the rest of her X-Kairos on that wall if she has enough. 20 seconds remaining here, and you've gotten server control, but at what cost? Shuttles and low HP, and you've already lost 2. C4s still remain. 1 more gas grenade remains, and you still have Raiden alive. Abonai's going to try and go for this plant. Regardless, the smoke is going to fall, however. A really powerful angle here held by Carnage, and the plant will go down to really everyone's shock, as 2 C4s still remain and no denial of that diffuser. Carnage, he has such a powerful position up from above, and will take the head off of Dirty. A 2 versus 3 retake, not the situation that Bad Company were expecting to be in, and everyone has started to storm in to servers Here comes Raiden. He will find one as well as Thunder. Now it's just a 1 versus 1. It's all up to Abonai to try and keep this successful attack going, but no! Thunder, by just a sliver of his HP, will be able to take down Abonai. What was such a decisive round, or at least looked so for Bad Company, turned into quite the dangerous attack from Run It Back. But regardless, it will be a nice retake there from both Raiden and Thunder, and they will secure the round by just about a centimeter.
You know, I mean, we were talking about earlier, Run It Back on their defenses of this bomb site. They like to ignore holding inside of servers. Maybe they just don't know that you can hold in servers. I mean, they clearly didn't know that that was an option when attacking in this round. Completely misdroning or ignoring, I guess, Thunder, who is inside of that position. I mean, just really odd that you don't find a player in there. It's not an uncommon spot to be in. I guess they just assumed that he would have backed off already if there was somebody playing in there, just as I was giving him credit for not cutting corners too. So that just goes ahead and makes me look even worse on stream. Thanks, guys. No, that's a terrible round on the attack.
You do bring up a really interesting point there. That server has just not been existent there in the minds of Run It Back. It's just been a gray area, and it will come to bite them quite a bit there. A missed drone there, and I want to blame it on the Mozzie pest, but you still had like all 5 alive. You could have had so many drones. There's so many ways you can enter your drone in as well because of hatches. Just very intriguing as to why they missed drone that. Obviously, people make mistakes, but to not drone behind server stack, that is... I don't know what else to say, but that's just a really fatal misdrone.
It's a weird one. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, even the best of us, so I guess we'll let it go. The good thing for them, if they just really hate that server area, well, they don't have to ever go back there. If they win these next 2 rounds, and the game will be over, and we'll never see another servers again, unless we see another bank match, which would be weird, but... That'll be the case for these 2 squads. It's at least doubling the points on the side of Bad Company. You're happy with that. You're now going to be defending on the top floor. Pretty standard stuff. Again, the castle being brought out, dock being brought out. I'm wondering if we're going to see as aggressive or as successful peaks as we saw from Abonai. Of course, Brain Dead Aimer picking up that position this time around. He's going to be taking a fight through the bars. He's got that very tight pixel angle. He hasn't managed to hit any shots through it just yet, but at least got the information that somebody's there. Already, though, it seems like he's playing it a lot more passive than what we saw from Abonai.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more passive than just swinging out and just peeking at everything. But yeah, if he's able to hold that spot off for a little while, as it does seem like Run It Back are going to be going for a lobby push, might be a pretty nice position to hold. He will rotate off of it, however, and we'll leave it off to Raiden to hold that with a little tiny pixel that is basically impossible to win unless somebody else holds it from some other angle. However, shots will fly towards ATMs, but no kill found. Eventually, Run It Back will start to break through this lobby attack, and something that you gotta be extremely careful of is that Maestro who can just mow it down like it's World War I.
Shuttle with an interesting strat.
I'm sorry, that was bad.
It's all good. It's all good. Interesting.
I watched 1917 recently.
Hey, I mean, that's a fine game. Here's an opportunity, though. We see Abonai hitting the head of Raiden. That's going to be an easy entry onto the Maestro, so clearly not as much success as we were seeing from Fozo. Not to be matched in this matchup. We already have a player advantage for the attackers who are looking for their match point. Of course, couldn't get it last time around. Have another opportunity now. Looking in, Fozo finds another kill, so he's going to keep tallying on to his gigantic scoreboard that he's managed to rack up. Abonai found somebody for a moment, but it wasn't long enough of a peak for him to be punished from it. Dirty still opening up some peek holes, trying to find somebody with these dirty angles that he's liked to use so far, but hasn't found any luck with it. Bayesian inside of the janitor closet. Drone from behind, and then of course players out in front of him. He's got a couple angles to worry about. Fozo with his second of the round. Again, phenomenal. Dirty shuts down Carnage. Fozo with 3. I keep saying this name, and it doesn't sound like I'm going to stop anytime soon. Vandal falls to Dirty. He's going to need to find 4 on the round total to be able to save this for his team. At 30 seconds on that clock. He's got a lot of pings. Give him that. The intel is there, but clearly he's been caught out as well, and with this line, he's going to have to stand still. It's shuttled to his side to shut him down and Run It Back, take round number 8, and push themselves to match point.
Being able to break through in front desk was huge because that's so much utility, or so much land rather, granted to the attackers, because they're able to watch Banana, they're able to watch conference, and they're also able to watch the A bomb site. So I mean, whenever you lose front desk, you lose quite a bit, and that allowed for a banana push as well to work out super well. And obviously the Lion working so well here for Fozo, who just in general has been working so well. This is kind of one of those moments where Fozo, if he drops even more frags, if this game lasts long enough, he's going to post it on Twitter or something like that, because that's what the cool kids do nowadays. But yeah, in general, just been a really, really good game so far from Run It Back. A very successful attack upstairs. And, well, now going to possibly go back to Teller's Archives, or I guess technically for the first time, go to Teller's Archives. Let's see what Bad Company are going to do differently this time. They're definitely they're very reliant on strategies that require a lot of territory. And we saw that a lot on the downstairs defense. There's just so much territory being held up above whenever they had the open area hold going on. But another thing is that they like to do a weird thing where they play people solo and in positions that are not refraggable. For example, that Maestro sitting in front desk last round was not really in a refraggable position because he was the only player sitting nearby. There was a dock inside a conference, I believe, but he was fragged out as well. So that's something they're going to have to be careful of, is they're going to have to watch their refrags and be able to hold off their allies and be able to establish control with more than one person.
It's going to approach minus 40 tonight in Edmonton, and it still won't be as cold as most of the players on Bad Company. Other than Braindead Aimer, really nobody has shown up for this squad. I mean, Thunder's had his moments, I would say, but Raiden Invasion in particular, I just haven't seen a lot from him. So I'm worried about that. Obviously, people have bad games, and I don't want to judge a team just based off of the one time that I've seen them in recent memories. So, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about these players in particular, but they're just not having the greatest of games today. And that's going to obviously contribute to the scoreline you see at the very top of the screen. At the end of the day, your stats don't matter unless it's that big number 6 and number 2 at the top of the screen. But still, I think it's going to be something to look at. I mean, maybe you're going to feel a little bit bad about yourselves if you're watching this back, if you're thinking about this game as either of these two players, or as either of the 4 members on the squad who aren't brain dead, because really, I think you're taking a look at this, and it's a seal on the line, right? These are matches that really, really matter, and if you blow it here, it's another 6 months before you get another shot at it.
Winter Quals, the infamous Winter Quals, are usually where teams go to die, and well, you definitely killed quite a bit of Bad Company spirits with that cold joke, because I felt that, and coming out guns blazing. Is it in Fahrenheit, by the way, or Celsius?
Minus 40 is actually the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Is it really? I'm not a scientist.
That is the equal point, yes, minus 40, and it's freaking cold in both temperatures. Yeah, I would assume, yes. But yeah, I mean, I would agree with that statement. Bad Company have just not been able to win a lot of gunfights, and that's why them relying on so many 1v1s or even 1v2s has just been so fatal for them. They do have a little bit of a more connected position here, as you do see Dirty sitting nearby an elevator and Braindead playing the bottom of main, where yet another player sits on attack. So right now, this is pretty taxing, the position that the main stairs player is holding, because I think that is Avenai, because he is able to look into sight with not a lot of contention. Line will go on out here, and Shuttle has the castle trapped in a corner. But no, the gunfight will almost not go in Shuttle's way, but he will be able to win that out. So you have lost your pinching player here, and the main stairs player, I believe. I'm not sure who that is, but Fozo will take down Raiden regardless, and Cafeteria will be given to the attackers. All you have to do is push in through open. Braindead Aimer is the player that I was talking about. A second E1D goes out. You have to wonder if a push is going to come at this point, because you have lost so much territory and so much ground here, but you have to go for something. 15 seconds remaining, and Thunder's still inside of sight. That could be really dangerous, but as I say that from above, Vandal will be able to take him down. It's just 1 versus 5, or 2 versus 5. Now 1 versus 5 as Avenai will take the head off, or sorry, we'll just body shot Jaeger as well as Bayesian. Might be body shots, but either way will be a flawless round there. A very heartbreaking end to a Bad Company's run. A very dominant game from Run It Back on this bank. You know, weird round, I would say, to end it. I mean, pretty much nothing going on for a minute and a half, and then slowly, just before you even note it, there's been everybody on the attack taken out one by one. So credit to Run It Back, particularly in that last round. Slow and steady won the race, but in the match overall, they were on fire. And take a look at that one, 13-4 from Fozo. Just given how long that match went, it's not very, very impressive overall from him. Nothing to laugh at, certainly. Credit to him, and of course the rest of the squad were all there as well. That's going to be game number 2 of the night, game number 1 that we've casted here on this channel. There's going to be one more match coming up. That's going to be in about, oh man, it's a while, so 40 minutes or so. So there are channels that are going on still live on other places, right? Uzumaki and Uzumaki, and there's one other person going live.
There's Benny and Hans.
Is Benny also going? Okay, Benny, Hans, and Uzumaki all live. So we'll link their channels down below. You can go take a look at them. At 8 o'clock Mountain, 10 o'clock Eastern, you can come back to find the last match of the night right here on twitch.tv/JesseJChick. Until then, we'll say goodbye, we'll kick some music, and we'll see you back in a bit.
Oh, let me safety, I want to feel your love. 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 I want to feel your love.
Can stay right here, we will play until somehow you can find a slightly different frame of mind. Right here in my arms, away from all harm, you'll be safe from all the flares, although I know you don't care. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path along the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Risk that you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Risk that you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find a slightly better frame of mind. And when the light comes through, when that day isn't new, then it will be time for a new frame of mind. When all eyes are on you, you will know what to do, since you will have found your new frame of mind. When you lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines, but always know that you'll be safe. I'll be here throughout your days. Come find me and we will play.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American Challenger League season number 11 qualifiers. We're slowly dwindling down those undefeated teams, and we've got 2 of the final 4 here for our next game. It is going to be Psychopaths Gaming versus LOL XD. My name is Jesse J. Chick. I'm again joined by the one, the only Jazzman, and of course, creator on The Observation. Jazzman, welcome back, and yeah, welcome to the stream.
Can't keep a straight face when you say LOL XD, but
LOL
yeah, I
XD.
mean, well, so I mean, you're absolutely right. It's weird to see that one of these teams is not going to be undefeated at this point. They've both been destroying through qualifiers. Psychopaths, obviously the Canadian Nationals team, but LOL XD might be a little bit of a new name to some. Hopefully, we'll see them make their name here tonight. As sorry, I had chat on and it was interesting, but hopefully we'll see them make a name for themselves here tonight. Obviously they might be known. I'm probably just being very oblivious, but I don't know. We have 2 really well-rounded teams here. Obviously Psychopaths making quite the run through Canadian Nationals, as well as we'll see all quals, and we'll see who is going to come out on top tonight and who will remain undefeated.
Yeah, Psychopaths, one of those Quebec teams that we see develop a lot of times in the Canadian scene. They got 3rd at the Canada Nationals finals back in October. So they've been very successful in the past. Bit of a different lineup. They've changed out, I think, 3 players since then. We've got Bozak and Storm still, but those other 3 names are new. Still well-known players in the French scene for sure. And then, yeah, LOL XD. I'm going to say relatively unknown players. I've casted almost all of these players. I don't know Squad of Squid. The rest of these players I've definitely casted before, but they're not going to be well known. If you don't recognize these names, certainly don't feel bad, because they haven't really made any marks in Challenger League. Certainly not anything like Pro League. So this is a weird match for teams that are undefeated. You don't typically think of these 2 squads as making it into the final 4, but maybe we'll see why they're here. We're going to jump on into Clubhouse, where Psychopaths will take on LOL XD in the last match of the night.
What has been a very interesting map is Clubhouse. It's always a map that you either are really good on or are really unlucky to play against a really good team on. And for what it's worth, it can be a very methodical but also very frag heavy map, so you can kind of appeal to all play styles. But we'll see what happens here tonight, because obviously a good Clubhouse team, as we've seen, maybe SSG if we're talking big leagues, is a really good Clubhouse team. They are not, average. They are the best. If you're a good Clubhouse team, then you probably know what you're doing.
For sure. It's kind of a map that can separate the men from the boys in a lot of senses, because if you show up to this map and you know what you're doing, you're definitely not going to have a great time with it. Obviously, it can be a pretty defender-sided map, so depending on how these bans go, we could see that swap up. Only Maverick being off of the board and no Thatcher either might maybe make things a little bit more equal. We'll see how these defensive bans go. Mira, pretty standard. I would expect to see a Maestro, particularly putting him inside a garage or just on any bomb site. He can be really powerful here, so probably going to be seeing him go bye-bye. Also, this has typically been the best map for Goyo since he's been released. It's been tough to see where that operator's been. It is going to be Maestro that gets banned out. It's been tough to see all the times where Goyo gets played, but from what the consensus seems to be, it seems like this is the best Goyo map out there. So some new adaptations coming to the map too. Perhaps we'll see whichever team can adapt to this new meta the fastest will be the team to come out with the victory.
Yeah, it's been a little bit more of a choice between CCTV Cache and Armory Church, which is it's always been CCTV Cache since the rework. That has kind of been the more popular site, but now it's evolved quite a bit where it's a choice between Church, Arsenal, and CCTV Cache. We will see that be the latter as LOL XD, which I will never want to say again, will be going up into CCTV Cache. So bringing the Echo, obviously that's going to be interesting because you don't have the Maestro, and Maestro usually tends to favor himself on this map, as Echo is always usually banned. You don't really see him in play a lot, which might mean strategies aren't really adapted well for Echo. But where Echo will stand most likely is just Plantanal, as simple as that. But Maestro is a little bit more, I feel like, integrated now that Echo's ban rate skyrocketed. You got used to Maestro, and now you're kind of seeing a back and forth in terms of who you're banning.
So we'll see the setup start to go down on the top of Clubhouse, as you mentioned, starting on CCTV Cash. And these players, just to list them off in case you don't know them, Patrick, Bowery, Stevo, Squad of Squid, and then Lava Girl. Lava Girl is Albatross, if you know Albatross. We'll refer to them as one name or the other. Probably just going to stick to Lava Girl to make it simple, because a lot of people aren't going to know who the hell that is. So we'll keep it simple there. On Psychopaths, of course, Twist, Storms, Max, Bozak, and Ken something. Of course, they're going to be a squad that, dude, I don't remember. He didn't play on the main roster back in Canada Nationals. They're going to be a roster that we see as well. You'll remember them from yesterday. Of course, we casted Psychopaths. And look at this. Caught out immediately thanks to Max Kendama. There we go. Really good shot onto Lava Girl, aka Albatross. Shutting down the aggression early. That's huge to set the pace of this game.
Yeah, you lost your bandit as well, and that's probably gonna, if there is a bandit better, it's gonna be dealt with quite easily. And this is gonna be quite the quick run here from Psychopaths. They're gonna be able to open up the CC wall with relative ease. Not even a single piece of utility is on that. So this is basically completely free as you have lost your bandit. I'm not sure if they have identified the loss of that German operator, so they might spend a bit more time on that. But yeah, I mean, now you basically have CC wall guaranteed, and now Psychopaths most likely are planning for what's up next if they want to start to push in through garage or construction, because a huge challenge that most attackers usually face whenever they're playing on this site is opening up that wall. That challenge is just gone. Squad of Squid, however, will take down Bozak, so at least a little bit of a refrag, but you haven't lost too much of utility. You've kind of just lost a fragger.
Very much true. We've got a 4-on-4 now as we get past that first minute. As you talked about, of course, that CCTV wall being opened up fairly quickly. The garage wall is going to be able to go down as well, but oh no, caught out. The player on top of those rafters. That's going to be Squid being taken out, of course. Makes it a 3-on-3 as Kendama also falling at the exact same moment. Means that we're going back and forth pretty consistently with the squad as the round continues to transpire. Notice Bowery sneaking down into the basement pretty late for a rotation, especially when you don't have a lot of players left alive. They're watching an oil pit, but he still gets the kill. Bowery coming out huge, finding Storms. That's a big, important pick. That's going to be one of your attackers off of the board. Obviously, the cap is out huge for getting those plants down, so you're in a bit of a tougher spot now. Twist and Max, the last two players left alive, your hard destructors, and they haven't really gotten a lot of ground themselves. They're worried about Bowery. They should be. They need to focus on him here because he could go for a jump out. Maybe he wants to play a little bit more safe, though. Honestly, not a bad choice.
He has a C4. He has that instant denial here, and it's right about needed as Psychopaths are going to start to go for their push. A nice peek, however, from Max, or just rather an angle hold, will go in the way of himself. So you have lost that C4. Now that instantaneous denial is gone, and Patrick actually has a really interesting spot hanging off the windowsill. And Stevo is basically just relying on Jaeger staying alive because he's the only man on site really to go for any sort of denial, and a really beautiful angle just in general being held here by the Jaeger. So this could be a really well-established crossfire. In comes Max, and he will lose a lot of HP, but so will Stevo, who is also completely blind. Now what does he do at this point? He will die out. It is just Patrick. With that angle, he will take down Max, and he's left Twist in a 1 versus 1, and well, he has quite a few options, but obviously each one has its own risk. Will he go for the plant, or will he decide to frag onto Patrick? He knows exactly where he is, or at least a decent idea. He's peeking the wrong way, however, because sitting right behind the wooden planks is going to be Patrick, and a nice little start there for that Jaeger. Obviously an interesting start losing your bandit early on, but the other German operator of Patrick will be able to make up for it. A really nice angle being held in through CC will deny any sort of push.
Yeah, I agree. That was huge from Patrick. Really smart to play that 1v2. Obviously, it was kind of a 2v2 by the time he chose his position, but still, that was great by him. That whole round was kind of just a story of picks, right? Picks and peaks is kind of how I would describe that round. You have one person jumping out to start things off, and then from there, it's like you got a guy down an oil pit who's peeking you on the stairs. You've got a guy who's just peeking the guy up in rafters as well, walking through the garage door, peeking out through the window as well for that second last kill from Patrick. Interesting round all around, if I can say that.
Yeah,
but it's going to be 1-0. It's going to be 1-0. And so clearly these two teams relatively even matched. I think just based off of the start of that round, maybe there's been a little bit of misjudgment from the defense. Obviously, they won that round. All XD took it. But throwing a life away so early maybe shows that you're not expecting a whole lot from Psychopaths. That could be a mistake.
Gotta be careful on that utility. I mean, a lot of C4s were lost really early on, which... or just a lot of C4s were lost in important times, which meant really good denial going down at such a inconvenient time. You also lost your echo last round, so no denial there. You kind of just had to rely on pure guns, and you don't want that. So definitely feel like the more high impact utility players should stay alive. AK that bandit who decided to run out with all 4 bandit batteries, but I mean, sometimes it's just a play that you want to make at the beginning of the round to maybe see if you can aggravate a team from the start. It's not something to look at way too much as a groundbreaking play.
Of course, we've got some French in the chat, and that's totally okay, but do try to keep it civil because it's really hard for me to moderate in French when I don't speak any of the language. So keep it nice is all I ask from you. Here's an engagement though. Bowery giving away his position. That's not the right move. Storms takes full advantage of it. Loses half his HP, but that's a nice headshot, and he gets rewarded with a kill onto the Valkyrie. Just a good clear out of the strip club. Not a lot of people push through there when attacking onto this bomb site. So good thorough push from Psychopath. Storm's about to find another player. His teammate drones it for him. He gets disoriented, but he gets the kill anyways. The star from last round, Patrick, on the floor, and Storms, despite losing most of his HP, is starting this round off very strong.
2 very, very impactful frags. So you lost all your roamers now, and it's going to be quite the easy push here from Psychopaths, as they are going to be able to take control of the Moto Hatch and get rid of Kitchen Hatch as well, quite simply, as long as the Thatcher stays alive to deal with the Electric Claws. Now that you've got that start here from Psychopaths, here comes the move in here. Twist is going to start to work on the hatch already, as Max is also going to start to work on construction walls. So really, really good progress being made so far here by Psychopaths. As a matter of fact, Squad of Squid is going to feel the pressure already as he wants to challenge Max, who is all the way back inside a kitchen. But yeah, a lot of ground already gained so far, and only half of the round gone. You still have so much to work with.
Minute 20 on that clock. The defenders still hurting. Of course, you've got at least your strong anchors alive. The Echo and the Smoke both standing strong. Squad of Squid inside of that dirt tunnel. Albatross trying to trick with these Electro Claws as well. Psychopaths slowed down a little bit, but I think you can expect that. That's pretty normal when attacking down to this bomb site. Good on them to deal with the aggression. That's maybe a little bit more of the underestimation coming out from LOLXD. They're playing people really aggressively, which might not always be the best move. Storms catching out that yokai is going to be huge as they continue to get down onto this bomb site. Very possible that the Squad of Squid also saw his drone, or the enemy drone, but of course, losing your yokai is going to be big. Twist taking a lot of damage as he goes for the drop, also getting disoriented by the drone that he knew was there. Lava Girl takes down Kendama, and a second one taking down Max. Stevo steps up as well, so this player advantage quickly fading away. Only 2 players left alive on Psychopaths, and somehow this is all fallen into shambles. You've got to get back in. There's 1 player down going for the plant. That's Twist. You've got Storms from up above on a sliver of HP trying to hold. Again, he's been so big this round, but he's got to have to go a little bit bigger. He gets the plant down. Twist falls. It's going to be a 1-on-3. Storms already with 2 kills. Make it 3. A triple kill in the round. It's going to be Lava Girl and Squid left to hold things. There's very low HP on all of these players. Lava Girl gets another one. Storms falling. Oh no, that's going to be it. There goes the counter defuse, and 2-0 for LOLXD. I almost felt like that was the ace potential, but it didn't happen.
A very decent position to play there, but Lava Girl was able to come up on the flank really well timed there with Squad of Squid, and I do feel like timing really was the essence of that round, because I mean, you saw the push that came out there from Psychopaths. They all decided, or I guess the Habana decided to storm site with Bozak storming in through blue, but then the cover just really wasn't there. It doesn't feel like they really were expecting that push there, as you had the rest of Psychopaths playing extremely passive angles while Bozak and Storms were inside of sight, or sorry, rather Bozak's and I think it was Twist on the Habana were already inside of sight. So I mean, just kind of seemed like it was really unexpected from both teams, but it was just really well handled by LOLXD because they had all their most players inside of sight just ready to deal with that push. The man advantage starting off really well there from Psychopaths as well, but unfortunately it did start to work its way down.
LOLXD have gotten aggressive in both of these rounds so far early, and neither time has it paid off. They've won their rounds by pulling things back, and that's not a super consistent way to do it, but I think you do have to give them credit for playing those really tense situations pretty well. They've just been better in the 1v1s. They've been better when time really starts getting down to the wire, and that's a skill that can be really hard to improve on for a lot of players. Certainly, I think a lot of it is team-based, right? If you can support your team mentally, if you can really get in the game when things are high stress, of course, it being casted contributes to that a little bit as well. So, credit to LOLXD for keeping their composure over these last couple rounds, because they've been really, really tight for them. And it's, again, not the easiest thing in the world to stay calm, cool, and collected, especially for a match like this when you've been playing for so long and there's so much on the line.
A lot on the line here. It's not just kind of, you know, whenever these teams lose, you're not going to lose your entire, you know, spot, but like both of these teams are undefeated. They want to continue their domination. So far, the pacing definitely in the favor here of LOLXD, and they're starting to play like it too. Bowery going for these aggressive peaks. We saw this happen basically on round 1 with the Bandit, which was kind of pretty aggressive now, but Bowery wants this kill. He wants to start off early here from Psychopaths, because so far Psychopaths have been the one with the opening frag, and while it hasn't met them with a round success, it's still definitely tough to work around.
Already been a little bit slower from Psychopaths. You take a look at that last round where they got the early picks into the roamer, even round number 1 where they got that kill onto the player who ran out. This time there's no early kills, at least not in the first minute. You did see Bozak take a little bit of damage. Half of his HP was thrown to the ground. But there's been good utility uses from PKC, already opening up Jacuzzi wall in pretty good time. Clearly there wasn't anybody actively tricking that, but that's still pretty impressive. You know, you've been able to effectively open that up. You haven't dealt with Bowery, which you mentioned earlier, and I think is going to be a bit of a problem. You've also got Lava Girl, who's downstairs, potentially in a bit of a flank spot. So there are players that could present problems for you on LOLXD. Oh, that's a great grenade, but Steve-O in the showers at the last moment survives off of it. Twist not so lucky. Lava Girl, that was through the dirt tunnel. You can do some really sneaky peeks from that dirt tunnel, and it's likely that's how he got Twist.
Here comes the push there, and it will be thwarted early on by Squad Squid, who's holding the angle here. We'll take down Max, and here comes the IQ there. Sorry, Bozak rather, trying to take advantage of the reinforcement timing, but it will go down. And now Bozak has trapped between a rock and a hard place. He will make it out somehow. Psychopaths have thinned down so much here. Stormstar will be able to take down Steve-O inside of Logic, and Patrick will refrag, but still 2 versus 4 here. Heavily favored for LOLXD, and it will be Patrick yet again, who has just been fragging. Getting frags on top of frags, and Squad Squid as well will be able to take his or her second as well. Really well played defense there from LOLXD, holding their ground there. And yes, while Psychopaths have been getting stuff like the wall open, where we saw CC get opened up super early on because of no bandit trick, and we saw the wall of Jacuzzi get opened up super early on because of no bandit trick, it still has not been going in the favor of Psychopaths, and I really just feel like it's because they focus all their energy on that wall, and then they just don't really move from there. They're a very static team whenever it comes to their pushes, as we saw that last round, because there wasn't really anybody pushing in through CC side or pushing in through construction. And yes, it wasn't going to be easy because you had players there, but there was no even attempt, really. You had Storms inside Logic, rather, but that was just about it.
So a perfect rotation as they get through all 3 of the bomb sites that they will need to defend. Clearly something's going to have to change for Psychopaths if they want to start winning some rounds here. Now, I mean, the nice thing for them is they can go back to the same bomb sites, and Psychopaths are going to know where they're headed, and they're hopefully going to be able to adapt a little bit better. The first couple rounds were a little bit closer. That last one, as you kind of mentioned, started off decent, but then as soon as they lost one, it started to spiral out of control for them. So getting the first opening pick has been big for both of these 2 squads. We'll see if you continue watching through this round how these Valkyrie cams actually get put up. None are going to go outside, so you're not going to see any shenanigans that we saw from the very first round. More likely than not, usually if you're going to have the same run out that the Bandit did in the first round, you're going to put a Valk cam outside on the tree, so this time around probably not going to see that happening. However, Bowery's still by the pool table and going for a spawn peek. Don't think anybody's here. Oh, yes there is. Misses the shots though, so Max will live another day.
Again, Psychopaths doing what they normally do with their hard breaching, just getting it open quite simply, pretty easily. Not a lot of denial this time around. I don't think Steve-O, unless he is on that wall will most likely be going down. So what is the play here for Psychopaths? What are they going to do once they get their wall open? Well, they have a little bit of cleaning up to do. Bowery is on the roam here, and he is looking for an early kill here. Sees the Capitao of Storms, but won't fire any shots here. He's baiting out the bullets right now, as Storms, at the perfect timing, will realign as he placed himself on the ground, and Bowery will be able to walk away with a massive kill onto the Capitao. So much utility has just been lost all in one moment. How will that wall go down? Unless Zofia can concuss the bandit mid animation, that wall might stay up. Something that has usually been super easy for Psychopaths to get open because there was no denial. Are they really going to be used to this at this point? Because that wall is going to stay open for quite some time.
Game sense huge from Bowery. Squid getting pretty aggressive inside of the garage here as well. Nobody's going to peek him. 2 rounds in a row now, we've seen Psychopaths lose the early pick, and last time things spiraled after that. This time around, again, they're having more trouble getting this wall open. Steve-O's going for some active tricks. Bozak is, of course, there to try to help out, and his teammate's going to kill. Actually, he gets credited with it. It's going to be the run-up from Lava Girl that does get thwarted. So great job by him placing that down earlier on in the round. Bowery found himself in a bit of an engagement. Oh, no, a poor EMP toss from Kendama. That is unfortunate. He's going to have to use another one of those. Thankfully, he has it in his pocket, and it looks like Steve-O's not going to commit to active tricking that any longer, so should be possible for them to open that one up. They're going to start it now, and they'll get it open as well. You'll hear from the sound cue. Bowery still is going to be a huge problem for them. Steve-O goes down, so maybe that's one player you don't have to worry about, but I'm worried about Bowery. Both cameras inside the garage go down, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Hits another headshot onto Twist, another crucial operator down too. Capitao dying early means you're not going to have those smoke bolts, you're not going to have the fire bolts to move the defenders around either. And the hard breach are gone. I mean, most of the hard destruction's finished at this point. That's still a huge loss. Thankfully, Bowery is now down.
A lot of time was put down onto that Valkyrie, and she was still able to do so much damage. So, Psychopaths, what do you really do at this point? The only piece of control that you really have at this point is that CC wall being opened up, and Max trying to push onto this Echo of Squad of Squid. It's just not going to be so easy, but all three are going to start to storm garage. They want this. They want the garage control so bad, but the crossfire is just way too well established. Squad will drop down, however, and it's a 1 versus 1 all of a sudden. Patrick has been in this clutch situation before. He will go to the exact place where it happened last time. Bozak has a diffuser, however, in his hands, and he might be going for the plant, but no, he's going to decide to start to stick it. Patrick does know, however, he is going to force that. In comes Patrick, and no, the last second decision to try and go for the peak will not work out there. LolXD will be successful once again. Despite the fact that garage control was taken, it was still a really, really well-timed defense there from LolXD, keeping that wall up for so long and forcing Psychopaths to just pinch their way through garage right into the crossfire that was established between the Jaeger of Patrick and the Echo of Squad of Squid. A really well-placed defense there. And obviously, we cannot forget Bowery on that Valkyrie just being such a nuisance, taking down 2, and it took them what, about 2 minutes, maybe even more, to get rid of him. Just so much pressure in 1 point.
Really just didn't love the way that that 1v1 was played by Bozak. I mean, didn't love his plant position spot, and then getting off was just a really questionable decision. Like, I get that if you stick it, you're gonna have a really tough time winning the gunfight, but if you get off, I mean, it's done no matter what, right? So I would have chosen the better spot to start with, and then you'd have a little bit more time to take the fight after you get the plant down. Unfortunate, that's not the way that he played it, though. And you, again, got to give credit to Private Rick, as chat likes to call him, because that's 2 clutches in a row he's managed to win on the CCTV cap bomb site. So that definitely takes some real skill. We'll see them holding down into the basement now, and again, they've been perfect on this bomb site. They've been perfect on every bomb site. They are 4-0 at the moment. Last time, again, though, it was relatively close. The attackers certainly had an opportunity to take this one. Came down to a 1v2 in the end, but everybody was very low HP. So we'll see if this one goes as poorly in the beginning as it did the very first time for LolXD. Because, again, last time they lost a lot of players right off the bat, and it was because of the strip push that Bowery is about to face for the second time.
It just seems like a lot of what Psychopaths are doing is just going for one important section, aka the CC wall last time around, and then just not doing anything about the rest of the players here. And you have a lot of roamers, and that is going to be LolXD playing into their advantage. The fact that their roam game has just been super strong, but as I say that, Kendama is going to be able to take down Lava Girl. I probably butchered that name, I'm so sorry, but Kendama will take down Lava Girl. So you've gotten rid of one of your roamers, and you've also gotten rid of control of the Electro Claws. Those are just going to go down. So far, Psychopaths off to a decent start, but you still have Bowery on this flank, and he's been so powerful. We don't even need to explain it. Now, what is he going to do here now that he is held up inside a strip club?
Well, you can see the adaptation came out from LolXD. They put a second person close to Bowery to try to help support, because last time they were on this ball inside, Bowery died pretty quickly. That was Lava Girl, and clearly didn't go too well for him. Again, it's a lot of pressure on Bowery. He's going to have to face a couple of different angles at once. Already some walls being opened up by Zofia. He, oh no, messes up almost every single action. There's the C4 thrown on the wall. Stevo, meanwhile, is finding Twist elsewhere on the map. And eventually, Bowery goes down. But he wasted a lot of time, and that's not worth nothing. The Habana going down in the meantime could be pretty big, just depending on what she was able to open up in the meantime. How many of those hatches have been opened already? Could be pretty important as we get into the last minute of this round. And we have another fight going down. Bozak about to find Patrick. And again, both of these two players have been big so far, but Bozak gonna back off, not wanting to take the engagement. He clearly knows the roamer's there. That could come back to bite them, and a C4 narrowly misses the player inside of Kitchen. Max will escape with all of his HP.
Patrick gonna apply pressure at the most perfect time right now, because Psychopaths are starting to transition a little bit into their next defense, and Patrick has the intel as well. So he's just gonna be playing this as a nuisance. He can play late game or he can go for a play now. He has a lot of control over what he wants to do, and he is going to start to push in through bar. He's got to be careful of the drone. It could become active at any time here as the rest of Psychopaths start to breach open the kitchen wall. Max will be able to take down Stevo. So you've lost a player on site, but here comes Patrick on the flank. He'll take the head off the Storms, and that is going to thwart all attention away from that attack that they're eventually going to have to do. And they will be able to take down Squad of Squids. A 3 versus 1. Now Patrick all of a sudden in a pretty desperate scenario. He's been the clutch player here for Lawless Steve, but isn't enough to find 3. He will tag down 1, but the defeater will go down here. Now Patrick forced in a pretty awkward post plant where his location is known. In comes a peek here. Kandama is just going to run in through Church and play an even safer position. They're starting to rotate out, and now Patrick is going to have to take 3 pretty long distance fights here as everyone is super spread apart. They're playing this right now. Psychopaths are playing this 2AT, and now Patrick is going to have to make a play soon. What can he really do at this point? In through Moto, he will go, but his location, of course, well aware of to the attackers. And Patrick basically knows that the situation is unwinnable. The crossfires are way too well established, and Psychopaths, while they were pressured on time, were able to clear out the anchors downstairs and force Patrick in a pretty awkward scenario where he had to go for a retake by himself. And, well, we obviously see that did not work out. Well played to Psychopaths to finally take their first round.
That's a very interesting round, to be honest. It started off with that strip roam, of course, by Bowery and Lava Girl, which ended up being a 2-for-1 exchange favoring the attackers, but they did waste a ton of time. So then Psychopaths, they know that Patrick is still upstairs roaming, but what do? They take a look at the clock and they say, we got to focus the site. They open up the hatches if they need to, they go for the drops, they push down Dirt Tunnel, take down the 2 anchors who are still downstairs, and then Patrick's left all alone. He could have made good work of that situation if he had pushed a little bit more aggressively. Obviously got that 1 kill onto Storms, about 30 seconds left in the round. If he had kept on with that aggression and just been an instant thorn in the side of Psychopaths, could have done a lot more damage, but unfortunately he decides to hold back, and as he does that, his whole team falls apart around him. He's stuck in a 1v3 that's basically unwinnable, and Psychopaths gain their first round on the board. An interesting one to take a look at because of the way that the tides kind of turned back and forth. Would have been interesting to see if Patrick had gotten a little bit more aggressively. Definitely could have been something that worked out for them, but unfortunately no. We head into round number 6, the final round of the side, and Bowery is on captain.
I'm interested to see where he is going to place his utility. As he has been the roamer, is he going to stick that with him, or is he going to be placing those downstairs near the site? Because so far they are going downstairs. So that's an intriguing operator to bring, definitely. It has a lot of purposes in the way that it works. If it explodes, obviously it takes away almost half, on average, half of somebody's HP. And then it also is basically a sensor as to where players are. Patrick, however, gonna start off with Twist. The Habana's gonna go down, and now all of a sudden Max is the only hard breacher, and he's gonna be forced with quite the choice of if he wants to open up a hatch or a wall or both. I mean, definitely not the best pick. I mean, I'm not saying that it's terrible to lose your Habana, but still, you've lost another now, as Lava Girl from underneath will rain fire on Bozak. Not the start that you want here if you're a Psychopaths.
Twist going down early a couple of times in this game has been a bit of a pain for Psychopaths. Obviously on the Habana especially, it's really important to stay alive early game. This is one of those bomb sites that does need a ton of hard destruction. Now Max is really kind of got to make some choices. Opening up Dirt Tunnel's an interesting one, means that they're gonna have pressure in there for sure. It could be a full send, 3 guys down Dirt. I've seen it before. I'd like to see it again. Could be a fun way to end this round off. It could be just one player down there while two don't. Right now, Storms is up inside of the kitchen, and the other two are in position where they could go down dirt. Max is getting kills on Squid, so he was the one to push down dirt eventually. Nobody has joined him just yet, but you found a kill onto the other Japanese operator, the Echo. So two very important picks going both ways. Of course, numbers were in favor of LOLXD, and it's going to be extended that way as Lava Girl finds Storms. So nice one pick from Psychopaths, but at this point, I think the round might just be too gone, and that's not going to be before the connects. But it does deny the hatch. That's big. That's the last exothermic charge too. Oh my god.
So many little losses here from Psychopaths, and so many big ones as well. You've lost your hard breach utility, and the only thing that's been blown up will now be Max's head, as it will be blown open by Steve-O's SMG-11, but Kendama will find the refrag at this point. He is just playing for picks. However, as his location is well aware of to LOLXD, and it will just be a Lava Girl to take down Kendama. Chat will not be happy with that one, as Psychopaths will not start off with a good half, given that they did not probably get the side that they wanted. But either way, LOLXD a dominating first half.
I will say though, that was maybe one of the closest 5-1 halves I've ever seen. Not saying a lot because it's still a 5-1, but there were a lot of those rounds that came down to like 1v1s, 1v2s. I think 3 rounds that LOLXD won could have gone Psychopaths. So it's still, I would say, a relatively close matchup. Does hurt them, obviously, having to go down 5-1, but the side swap could help them out a little bit here. We'll see. I think that probably this is going to be a match that's favoring LOLXD. They do seem like a slightly better team, particularly in those tense moments when it seems to count the most. But it's not a totally lost game for Psychopaths. They could battle it back.
Absolutely, Psychopaths still have it in them, and they are going on to the more advantageous side. Maybe we could see a little bit of a switch up here, and maybe we'll finally see Psychopaths get a little bit more comfortable. As we'll be going downstairs, again, we talked about this early game. This choice, obviously, between Church Arsenal and CCTV Cache, and Psychopaths deciding to go downstairs as LOLXD went upstairs the first time. So now, what do you do for your Psychopaths? The half is dealt with. Well, by the looks of the operators, we're going to be going for the very, I guess, popularly named SSG strat. Now, what the SSG strat is that you have a lot of denial up above in terms of drones. So you will have the Mozzie and the Vigil for stuff like that. And then you also have rotations going downstairs. So you have a lot of fluidity between your rotations going downstairs, and it's basically been undefeated so far in the major battles because of just how easy it is to rotate back downstairs. Now, Psychopaths will do things a little bit differently, as usually the motor hatch is open, it will be sealed off. But either way, it's gonna be pretty hard to crack this nut. We'll see if they're able to do that.
LOLXD been really fast, opening things up on all floors. Already, Storms feels it's necessary to come back because he senses there might be a bit of a rush onto the site. I don't know if it's going to be a rush exactly. It's been a pretty fast take of this middle floor, but they haven't been fast to get into the bomb site. And that was a really good trick as well, I believe, coming from Twist to stop that hatch from being opened. And then what is he doing? He's immediately rotating up the central stairs to come in and put a little bit of pressure back onto the kitchen. Got to be worried about Max up above, of course, but this is still not a bad spot to be in. Now, as you were talking about, I mean, Psychopaths still have 2 roamers on the top floor. That's a very dangerous proposition for the attackers. We don't see it a lot on Clubhouse, of course, just because it can be really tough to bring your players back to the site if they don't get what they need roaming. They're kind of stranded up there, so we'll see if they can make it back alive or if they're going to find some picks, but they're probably going to be an integral part of this round as it continues to transpire.
Lava Girl's location is not known here, and Twist, unfortunately, going to be sleeping on the job. However, he finally will get refragged out. At least Storms will be able to find that, and Steve-O has pushed his way through. So, kind of a play trying to be made there from Lava Girl, but unfortunately will not be able to do so. And now you have Steve-O stranded downstairs, while the rest of LOLXD kind of being torn from the inside out as they're trying to deal with the upstairs players. So, you kind of have this weird split going on here from LOLXD as they want to try and push the site while also trying to get rid of these roamers, which are still alive and still upstairs. Speaking of which, here's Kendama to find one. He's gonna have to go for the reload, unfortunately, so it won't be 2 just yet. C4 being popped, so it's not gonna find anything, and Kendama will be able to rotate away safely and open up above as he will. Bozak coming in for the push. He wants that kill, and he will find it onto Bowery. An excellent pinch here. Storms will find another onto Steve-O, and now Patrick is left in a 1 versus 4. So not even needing to rotate downstairs as you had LOLXD going for the push. while they had absolutely no ground, and Aromas have not been dealt with at that point.
Kendama, our Lord and Savior, starting off this carnage on the enemy team. Patrick almost finding one, but doesn't even manage to get that. It's about half the damage pumped into Kendama. That leaves 4 players still up and at 'em for Psychopath Gaming. They're looking to double their round count here in round number 7, and it's likely they will be successful. Bozak finally puts the last shot into the brain of Private Rick, and round number 7 going their way. A lot better, I would say, from Psychopaths. Clearly the defense is favoring them a little bit more, but I think particularly just allowing themselves that flexibility to roam upstairs came in pretty crucial.
Absolutely, and they weren't dealt with at all. Lolix D felt the pain of that. The impact going down onto hatches, so Kitchen Hatch wasn't opened up. Moto Hatch was, I mean, it was already open, but it was controlled from above by the players. I believe it was Mute and Mozzie, who were both respectively Max and Bozak, I believe. Max and Kendama. It was Max and Kendama. So Max and Kendama were controlling up above. They were able to deny hatches. And then whenever they decided, oh, you know what, let's just ignore the roamers and go for the push, when has that sentence really ever gone right for anybody? I mean, you had, who was it? You had Steve-O pinched up inside the dirt. You had a push going in through blue by Lava Girl, basically as an act of desperation, while the rest were starting to push in through into the main stairwell, where they were met with fire and fury. So, unfortunately, unfortunately, Lolix D feeling that really popular defense that has just been making its way into the scene, again popularized by SSG. But now Psychopaths will decide to go upstairs, completely ignoring cache CCTV for now.
So they're hoping they can turn this into a little bit of momentum on Psychopaths. Obviously, the half swap can help stop the momentum of the enemy team a little bit, but then it's kind of up to you to turn that into your own momentum to really push with this gust of wind that you've given yourself in round number 7. They're going to move to Gym Bedroom, which I think is a fine strategy because, again, you kind of have to go perfect on this half. You don't have to go perfect, but you got to get pretty close. So it doesn't strike me as too odd that they're going here instead of CCTV cache. Some teams legitimately prefer it. Not a lot, but the argument is sort of that, well, if you're holding CCTV cache anyways, this just sort of gives you an extra layer to fall back on. It's definitely not a bad strategy, and I don't dislike this site.
Also gives you a lot of rotation in through logic and construction. But yeah, it's like I said, it's really optional. Just helps out with pinches. In comes a hard reach utility, and they're trying to confuse Kendama, but he knows exactly what's going on. He will find the exothermic charge, won't find the X-Kairos though, and they will instead decide to use the X-Kairos to open up the wall. So the wall will get opened up regardless. That is kind of the name of the strategy, but here's the issue. Max can watch it all the way back from site. Really, anybody can watch it all the way back from site. And Kendama is still safe inside. He's playing a very dangerous position, but he is safe where he is. He's going to go for a rotate, though, and he will be met with basically what was an expected fate had he decided to go for such rotations.
Wise and powerful Kendama making a slight slip up. There's a great impact grenade from Bozak, which helps a little bit in that respect. He's going to make that exothermic, or that X-Kairos, I should say, just quite a bit less impactful. Still an angle, but a lot smaller of an angle. Max inside of Gym Bedroom, of course, protected by that castle barricade in the front. Got to be worried about the window right above him, but shouldn't be too big of an issue. He should have a little bit of warning on when that's coming. Does start to get opened up by Patrick now, and so he's going to have that angle to try to look into the castle's current position. Otherwise, on this defense, though, they've been pretty steady, not wanting to move from where they're at. Clearly, no flanks that we were seeing, in the last round, I should say. Here's an opportunity from Storms, though. Could find somebody, but it's Squid actually to find Max, the very first kill actually in the bomb site. There's another one as Bozak's gonna go down as well. 2-on-5. Steve-O starts this plant, and this is all falling apart very quickly for the Frenchies. Storm's the last man alive in a 1-on-5. He needs the ace clutch, and doesn't look super plausible. It'll be a perfect round instead for Lolix D.
Getting what they needed open and really just being able to take one-on-ones to their favor, even 2-on-1s to their favor. It was a really, really well-placed attack there from Lolix D as they will place themselves on match point. A very crucial round will go in their favor. Obviously, that strat with the X-Kairos was very, very efficient. I thought it was just going to be a distraction, but they decided to roll with it anyway. That thermite charge went down, so really well played there to Lolix D to get that down. And that was kind of the big win there, was them being able to open up that wall because, well, Psychopaths were forced to rotate out there. I mean, like, for example, Kendama's rotation, he was forced out of his little corner there, and he was basically an instant kill for free. No refrag at all in the books. just little plays like that from Psychopaths are what really wins rounds, because you kind of put, well, from Loxy, you kind of put Psychopaths in a really awkward position where they have to try and get that refrag and find it somewhere, or else they're just gonna have a huge man disadvantage, which is exactly what we saw. Man disadvantage got wider and wider until it was eventually completely flawless.
They'll change bomb sites pretty predictably as they choose to go to the more standard CCTV cache. Of course, no Maestro available to them, so they're going to have to play somebody else instead of the Garage. Perhaps Max, but more likely than not, it's going to be... it could be anybody, really. I mean, Storms would be my best guess, but you can throw a couple different players in there and it would work out for you. I'm interested again to see if they do a lot of roaming. These castle barricades on the first floor make it seem like they probably will be playing some people down below. This is a relatively common strategy where you put somebody down there and they just try to do their best to stall it some time. Storms could also go for a spawn peek, as he currently is. Could also turn into a run out. Unfortunately, nobody's spawned here, so whether he goes for it or not a whole lot's going to come of it. He can look over towards the other side of the map too, but again, doesn't really find anybody. So a pretty irrelevant aggressive play by him.
So they're going to be going for basement push here, or rather, I guess, Patrick, or Private Rick, as you like to call him. That Zofia is a really, really good PC utility, because what you can do with him is you can just instantly, like, you can impact that floor twice where Kendama is sitting, and it could be an instant kill. One impact will go down, however, it won't be on what I just said. As a matter of fact, he's going to use the concussions, and that wall will go down, and so will Kendama once again. However, the wall is really awkwardly placed, so I don't know if Steve-O's going to open it up to his liking there, but... oh, is it glitched? Sounds like it's glitched.
I don't
know what
think...
happened, but anyway.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes. I don't know. It happens with C4s. It happens with exothermic charges. But anyway, a good start here for Lolixes. Now they can basically get open that wall. What the heck?
Yeah, they're going to have to use another one of the exothermic charges again. That wall just not being opened enough is very unfortunate. Powery again confused by that exothermic charge. Just a strange wall. It has weird things going on with it. Weird things going on with Twist. He's getting kills onto Lava Girl. He does get traded eventually though. Patrick hiding inside a stock, not known by the attackers, and that's that flexibility on the defense that can be very, very scary. Good stuff coming out from Psychopaths in that respect. You've still got to be worried about these 4 attackers, though, who are going to be barreling into your bomb site pretty quickly here. Max inside of the garage almost survives, but not quite. Storms gets a kill. His teammates all fall around him. He's in a 1-on-3 now for the game. If he dies here, this is the end of it. He's going for a run out, perhaps. He's not on the bomb site. This is going to be tough for him to push back into.
He's gonna try, but his location is so well aware. He's gonna get a flashbang tossed at him, and well, everyone will just decide to hold angles there. More flashbangs coming on through, but Storms, he'll walk away with a kill in the midst of all this, and Squad will go white there. Here comes Storms, are storming in through garage as per namesake, but angles are being held here all the way from the window, and there it is. Steve will find Storms through that window. Lol XD will be able to win out the game. Another 2-7 for us.
Bro, they threw 5 flashbangs at Storms on red stairs. 5 flashbangs. He had no chance, okay? Credit them to even get 1 kill. That was amazing with how many flashbangs were being tossed at Storms in that final round. As you mentioned, a second 7-2 for us on the stream here. A little bit unlucky with our games. However, I would say that game was a little bit better in terms of having some better rounds at the very least. Scorelines, not incredibly impressive by anybody, relatively even all around. Lava Girl did top your match with most kills though, so credit to him coming out on top on that one. That's it for the night though. Both of those teams are going to be playing tomorrow, of course. LolXD undefeated 6-0, an incredibly impressive record. Psychopaths not too bad either, 5-1, still very respectable heading into day number 3. So we'll see both of those 2 squads tomorrow as we continue on with our Challenger League qualifier coverage. But for tonight, we will have to say goodbye. Jazzman, I want to say a huge thank you for you for jumping on this cast with me. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast with you.
Absolutely, I agree. Have a good night.
And an extra special thank you to Creator as well, who was observing for these casts and does an absolutely amazing job as always. That's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Again, we're going to be back at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for the last day of Qualifier number 2 right here on twitch.tv/JessieJChick. Give it a follow if you want to watch that. We'll throw it to some music and then we'll end the stream. Thank you all for coming out, and I hope you have a wonderful night.
It was a pleasure.